In a secure, isolated community located on an island in Montreal, a high-end biotechnology company has been hired to maintain the grounds of an exclusive golf club. The firm utilizes its latest innovation, a potent fertilizer that not only melts snow but also keeps the grass lush and vibrant throughout the winter. Thanks to this groundbreaking treatment, the wealthy patrons of the golf club are able to enjoy playing the sport year-round, oblivious to any potential side effects. The next day, Dan, a security guard for the island, returns home with supplies. Dan's lifestyle is deeply rooted in survivalist principles, influenced by a conspiracy theory radio show that feeds his suspicions about the government and society. That evening, after finishing his usual duties, he tries to start a fire to stay warm. Without matches, he struggles, and in a desperate moment, he decides to use gunpowder from a shotgun shell. This results in a minor explosion that singes his eyebrow but leaves him otherwise unharmed. Meanwhile, at the golf club, Dan's daughter Patricia works as a caddy assisting members on the course. Michelle, the CEO of the biotechnology company responsible for the fertilizer, shows off the pristine grass to a wealthy couple. He proudly credits its health to the company's innovative treatment, boasting about its benefits. However, unbeknownst to Michelle, Patricia, or the club's elite patrons, the fertilizer is seeping into the soil and contaminating the island's water supply. Nearby, Jacques, a well-known local actor, drinks tap water without a second thought before heading to the grocery store. At the store, all the produce is rinsed with the same contaminated water, and mist is sprayed on the shelves to keep them fresh. Shortly afterward, Jacques begins to feel lightheaded but dismisses the sensation, assuming it's nothing serious. As time passes, Jacques notices a disturbing change. His teeth begin to turn green, and his stomach growls fiercely. Before long, he fully transforms into a zombie. When Jacques' wife finds him in the bathroom, he lunges at her, sinking his teeth into her flesh. The gruesome attack turns her into a zombie as well. The two of them freeze in place, their eyes glowing green as they become trapped in the same bathtub. Back at the golf club, Michel and the couple he was showing around return to the main building, only to be greeted by an eerie emptiness. Suddenly, a man runs toward them, yelling for them to escape, warning them that people are falling ill. But before they can process the information, a swarm of zombified staff members bursts out from behind him. Amid the chaos, a dog appears, and the wife of the couple calls it over, thinking it will provide comfort. Instead, the dog lunges at her, viciously biting her neck. As the woman begins to transform into a zombie, Michel and the husband frantically throw the dog away. They quickly rush inside the club, locking the door behind them to keep the zombies out. However, the dog slips through a crack in the door and bites the husband on the leg, infecting him as well. Michel is forced to confine the dog in another room, but the banging of the zombies on the door grows louder as the undead continue their relentless pursuit. Before long, the husband also succumbs to the infection, forcing Michel to defend himself with a kitchen knife. Back in town, Dan is on patrol when he receives a call from an elderly woman complaining about the loud, violent behavior of her neighbors. When Dan arrives at the house and rings the doorbell, he is shocked to discover that the neighbors are now zombies. To make matters worse, the elderly woman who called him soon transforms into a zombie as well. Dan barely escapes, rushing to the safety of his car. As more zombies gather around his vehicle, he tries to contact Patricia, but she is also facing her own struggle for survival. Frantic, Dan decides to abandon the company car, intending to retrieve his personal vehicle, one that is fully stocked with weapons, so he can search for his daughter. Elsewhere on the island, a teenage boy named Andre is about to mix tap water with milk for his baby sister, Annie, when their mother intervenes. She insists on using bottled water, suspicious of the island's water supply. Andre prefers soda over water, so he shrugs off her concerns. Not long after, their mother begins to feel weak and fatigued. At first, Andre believes she is simply overexerted, but to his horror, she soon transforms into a zombie. In panic, Andre flees through the house with his mother chasing after him. Just as she corners him outside, Dan arrives in his vehicle and crashes into her, injuring her, but not killing her. Andre, still clinging to hope that his mother can be saved, tries to help her, but Dan warns him that help is not coming and urges him to take shelter in the house. Despite Dan's warnings, Andre refuses to leave his mother behind. He drags her inside the house and locks all the doors, but as he tries to call for help, he hears a recorded message stating that the island is under quarantine. Police have set up a blockade at the bridge connecting the island to the mainland, preventing anyone from leaving. Inside the house, the zombified mother soon attacks Annie, forcing Andre to intervene. He locks his mother in the bathroom, where she steps into a leaking shower and begins to react to the contaminated water. As Annie's cries attract more zombies to the door, Andre covers her with pillows and blankets in an attempt to keep her quiet. When his cat returns through the pet door, a zombie reaches in, nearly grabbing Andre, who then rushes to find a golf club to defend himself. Meanwhile, Patricia finds temporary safety in a garage and finally manages to call her father. Dan arrives shortly after and fights off a group of zombies with a knife, managing to rescue his daughter. The situation on the island grows even more dire as military aircraft begin to bomb key areas, triggering a power outage. The next morning, Andre films the growing zombie threat from a window, pausing briefly to watch a press conference held by the Minister of Public Security. The minister tries to reassure the public, claiming that the destruction of the bridge was necessary to contain the situation. However, Andre's phone dies before he can capture more footage. As time passes, Andre discovers that his mother's body has begun to grow patches of green grass, a disturbing effect of the contamination. With no other choice, Andre decides to leave the house and ventures out with his baby sister. Along the way, he meets Patricia, who has also been infected but is being kept alive in the hope of a cure. Together with Dan, they navigate through the increasingly dangerous island, encountering swarms of zombies that are now covered in green goo and basking in the sun. At the golf club, Michelle has fortified the building, burning all documents related to the biotech company's involvement. He keeps a small sample of the fertilizer, but as twin operatives from the company arrive, they force Michelle to consume the fertilizer and knock him out. The twins then proceed to destroy the remaining samples, covering up the company's role in the disaster. Meanwhile, Dan and Andre reach the water treatment facility and encounter more zombies lurking in the contaminated water. As they try to rescue Patricia from the building, Andre realizes that the zombies are reluctant to attack one another, giving them a brief window of escape. As the military continues its cleanup operation, incinerating any remaining zombies, Dan's health begins to deteriorate from his exposure to the contamination. Though he holds on long enough to help Patricia and Andre escape, he ultimately succumbs to his injuries. The island remains under quarantine, and while the Minister of Public Security announces that the infection has been contained, his connection to the biotech company hints at a larger conspiracy. Andre, now one of the few survivors, takes his baby sister and flees the island, leaving behind the horror that has consumed their once peaceful community.